Control taking the Australians and the Tokyo show live. It's about 4:20 in the morning, and we've got 20 hours to go.
The days leading up to it, the last 3 days leading up, is actually where you end up then with the most fluidity. Changes that need to happen. Mostly, actually, that happens day of on site. So a lot of running around, just editorial once you're there and you run through the full day of rehearsals the day prior. Sort of getting a sense of what really feels good and what could use a little bit of tweaking. So there's a lot of that because there was putting all the artists on the stages, but then the order in which they played, and then the presenters who would introduce each artist and what the presenter was saying, then the films that ran between it, and the PSAs that ran with that as well. The messaging component, the SMS texting the screen. So sort of massaging all those things into a 9-hour puzzle that really came off with the most integrity and continuity.
I think that in general the sponsors have been really trying to show that what they're doing is above greenwashing. They know that we're going to demand that everything gets printed on recyclable material. We're literally getting down to the nitty-gritty with them, and all of the sponsors are starting to really go, okay, we get it. Like, this is a truly green event. This is down to every last detail. It's time that they sort of really look at what they're doing and why they're doing it. And if it is green and it's not greenwashing, then let's talk about it.
How are we doing on activation, Daniel? We're thinking about the plywood that's laid and where it originated from and where it's going. We're thinking about how we power the concerts using clean energy. So we hope to create a new standard in the way these events are done and the way concert tours happen. So we're spending money, resources, and time rethinking about it. Okay. Is this London here?
This is the one for London, yes.
These sets have to be far more put together like an album as opposed to a TV show. That they have to have consistency, that they have to progress and be sequenced well, that they have to be reflective of the biggest names in the world as well as the names you need to know, and certainly the names that have been core to the cause and that have been really celebrating what it is that Al has been talking about and trying to bring awareness to for some time.
Probably touched a lot of people for the first time on that day rather than preaching to the converted, so that was a good thing. Having Gore in New York definitely meant that people were more focused on the cause there than maybe they had been in some of the other shows if they were just there for the music.
Today, 2 billion of us have come together in over 130 countries on all 7 continents. So I would like to ask each and every one of you to answer the call and join me in signing this Live Earth Pledge.
And I've heard back from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, friends that I haven't heard from since high school, and they were all overwhelmingly supportive of what we're trying to do, saying that they watch the show, they're going to make changes in their life. So it's definitely affected me personally and the people around me.
Κάπου εδώ κάνουμε ένα μικρό διάλειμμα, να πάρουμε μία ανάσα μετά από αυτά που είδαμε. Συνεχίζουμε να έχουμε σημαντικά πράγματα να δούμε στη συνέχεια του σημερινού On Air που κάνουμε ένα αφιέρωμα στο Live Earth που έγινε το καλοκαίρι. Ένα μικρό διάλειμμα και επιστροφή εδώ για το δεύτερο μέρος που έχουμε να δούμε και να ολοκληρώσουμε το σημερινό μας αφιέρωμα.
Ωραία.
Πάμε.
I learned an amazing amount in every way, in terms of working with NGOs, in terms of greening, in terms of how to manage different venues, the size of the venues, if it's a field versus a stadium, and what's the best way to approach getting your measurements before and after. This was a massive learning experience, and I'm so proud and honored to have been part of it.
We're doing a launch event in front of 2 billion people to start the movement over the next 3 to 5 years.
I'm excited more than I can really tell you in words. I had hopes that it would be this big and that there would be this many venues and this many artists. But now that it's about to happen, I'm really thrilled.
I'm a one-way motorway. I'm a road that drives away for all those youth back home. I'm a street light shining on. I'm a white light blinding bright, burning off and on. Sing it!
It's an honor to be asked to do something like this because it's important to everyone.
I felt actually very privileged to be given the honor to come here and to be involved with such a world-changing thing. You know what I mean?
I think it's going to be a big event for our generation and something that starts off a movement really. And
what I really want to know is, are you going to go my way? Got to know, yeah.
The momentum is building for some change to happen, and I'm glad to be part of it.
Oh, we're just happy to be here, to be part of something, special and something important, worldwide.
I'm very excited actually. I've just had a peek out the window and there's an enormous amount of people out there. So it's definitely going to be, the biggest gig of my lifetime.
But the sun shines here, where the night is totally clear, and your heart is fierce. So now you finally know that you control where you go, you can steer.
The industry has always come together and always rallied for these global causes, and this is one that really strikes a chord of being one of the most important causes ever to humanity.
The climate crisis issue is one of the defining issues of our generation.
I think we were the first kind of generation when we were at school who became aware of the whole issue of global warming. And so it's something that's kind of been imprinted on our psyches for a while.
I mean, just having this one show here would be a tremendous challenge, but having 10 of them around the world.
Tropical island breeze, all in nature wild and free. This is where I long to be. La Isla Bonita. And when the summer played, the sun would set so high, ring through my ears and sing by your Spanish lullaby.
I think the young people, which we've aimed this at largely, are going to inherit this planet. But I think even for someone that might be 40 plus, they're influencers, and that's what we need to create a tipping point.
It's forcing everyone to step up and keep to their word, making the commitment.
Make some noise!
I think it's a great teaching tool. It's a great way to teach people and still entertain them, and no one likes to be preached to too much, and so us musicians, we put a good face on it, I think.
And then while they're watching the artists, they're made aware of all these issues and information that they weren't aware of before.
We are here on a momentous day for the people of our generation, because together we can get off our backsides and we can do something for the future of mankind. And that's a beautiful thing in here tonight.
I think as entertainers, we find that we have a stage. And if in this entertaining we can present some truth, then I'm honored to be able to do that. I think I have a responsibility to take rock and roll to its roots for what it originally has always been. It's to incite, it's to let people know what's going on, and I take that very seriously.
I need to speak out. Something's gotta break up. I've been asleep, and I need to wake up now.
The denial industry that's been in full swing for the last 10 years has done a very good job, and there's an element of doubt always. Is it really? Is it us? Is it what? Is it happening? It is happening. So let's just get that point absolutely 100% across.
Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera.
I mean, if you think about it, it shouldn't be the only way to get the message across this and to stage concerts all over the place, but
I was thinking about it, and I went, how else do you do it?
You've got to start somewhere. You start here. Where else is there to start? Who else is doing it? I don't see anyone else.
I think awareness concerts, when they're on message, and you can combine the passion of music with a message and transfer that emotion so that this message continues.
Let's hope tonight's concert and the concerts going on all around the world are not just about entertainment, but about starting a revolution.
And I feel that we really will make a difference and make a change, and it was all worth the year that we've devoted to this.
You follow me back with the sun in your eyes, and on your own bed shape to legs of snow. You'll knock on my door, and up will go in white light. I don't think so, but what do I know?
It's a good question whether concerts like this will make a difference. I think it's definitely not about today, it is about tomorrow.
I think this can make a huge impact. You know, musicians getting together, we have a voice, and 24 hours of this should definitely get people's attention.
Nowadays, to get everyone's attention, because there's so much noise out there, you need something this big to get the world's attention, and this needs the world's attention.
I think overall our fans, generally what we get involved with, they're going to listen, So a day like this is important because they're going to listen, and they're going to check it out.
It remains to be seen what happens with it, but I think for us it's just a matter of pointing attention towards it.
Yeah, someone pour it in, make it a dirt dance floor again. Say your prayers and stop it out when they bring that chorus in. I bleed it out, digging deeper just to throw it away. I bleed it out.
When it comes to something like the climate crisis, which is forcing us to really examine who we are as human beings. What is our moral obligation to all those who come after us? All of a sudden, we turn to music and art in order to find the ways to communicate and to understand and to feel the nature of our obligation to one another and to the future.
Thank you for coming to Live Earth. Put all this energy in your heart and help us solve the climate crisis. Good night. God bless.
All we want is that new commitment. It's not about the past. It's about what you're doing today going forward. These bands are committing, they're changing, I'm changing, and we want everyone watching this to change.
So the climate crisis is a global problem, but the solution really starts with us. And that's what Live Earth is about.
We're trying to do things little by little, which I guess is the idea, to just do whatever you can, however sort of small and piecemeal.
That's the whole point of this event, is everyone can make a small difference, but when you add that all together, that's a huge thing.
Suddenly I see, this is what I want, baby. Suddenly I see.
I'm not so green yet. I'm learning. I didn't come here to preach to people. I came to learn myself.
We can apply pressure to our governments. We can tell them that we're not happy.
Why the hell it means so much to me?
Crying out loud, the ice caps are actually melting because of carbon dioxide emissions. I do not want to swim all day and look for ice caps if there's none left.
Any diesel engine can run on biodiesel, which is soy oil, corn oil, or oil from the French fries at McDonald's. Seriously, any diesel engine can run on this.
Having an energy efficient washer and dryer, some appliances, or energy efficient bulbs in the house.
We actually have the power in our own lives to do things like turning off lights and changing your light bulbs to energy efficient ones, and switching to green power and riding a bike instead of driving. There's so many things that we can do.
This is what I want, baby. Suddenly I see.
It's going to be pretty hard to walk away, I think, without thinking just a little bit about what you can do to save this planet and stop global warming.
Even if it's a small change, as simple as turning off the TV when you're not watching it, when you're done watching the concert, flip the TV off. It's, stuff like that does make a big difference.
Suddenly I see, this is what I want to be. Suddenly I see, why the hell means so much to me. This is what I want to be. Suddenly I see, why the hell it means so much to me.
Well, we don't have a lot of time to fool around with this, so the sooner the better. And that's why these concerts are designed to jumpstart this process of getting the world past the political tipping point, if you will, beyond which there's a shared resolve, and political and business and civic leaders in every nation will be forced to respond to the sea change in public opinion. Now, that may not happen overnight, and it may not happen in one day with these concerts, but this will be a great start, and this will empower us to continue for 3 to 5 years until we get the world past this threshold to the point where we really will solve it.
Our ability to live on planet Earth, to have a future as a civilization, that is what is at stake. I believe this is a moral issue. It is your time to seize this issue. It is our time to rise again to secure our future.
I hope you will take the first step by signing Live Earth's 7-point pledge. And here's what it says. I pledge to demand that my country join an international treaty within the next 2 years that cuts global warming pollution by 90% in developed countries and by more than half worldwide in time for the next generation to inherit a healthy Earth. I pledge to take personal action to help solve the climate crisis by reducing my own CO2 pollution and offsetting the rest to become carbon neutral. I pledge to fight for a moratorium on the construction of any new generating facility that burns coal without safely trapping and storing the CO2. I pledge to work for a dramatic increase in the energy efficiency of my home, workplace, school, place of worship, and means of transportation. I pledge to fight for laws and policies that expand the use of renewable energy sources and reduce dependence on oil and coal. I pledge to plant new trees and to join with others in preserving and protecting forests. And I pledge to buy from businesses and support leaders who share my commitment to solving the climate crisis and building a sustainable, just, and prosperous world for the 21st century.
Τώρα που τελείωσε αυτό το αφιέρωμα που κάναμε σήμερα στο Live Earth.
Τελειώσαμε κι εμείς.
Ναι, τελειώσαμε κι εμείς βεβαίως. Αλλά προηγουμένως να πούμε ότι αυτές τις μέρες κυκλοφορεί το DVD στα δισκάδικα, αν θέλετε να το βρείτε. Επίσης κυκλοφορεί ήδη εδώ και ένα μήνα ηλεκτρονικά μέσω του ίντερνετ, αν θέλετε να το κατεβάσετε. Και τι άλλο να πούμε,
ότι καλό
έχει
θα ήταν...
συνειδητοποιηθεί εσύ από όλο αυτό το θέμα?
Κοίταξε, εγώ...
Δηλαδή έχει αλλάξει η ζωή σου?
Από το Live Earth...
Όχι βέβαια από το Live Earth, αλλά γενικότερα ότι συνεχώς κάθε μέρα μας βομβαρδίζουν με τέτοιες ειδήσεις. Ναι. Δηλαδή ο πλανήτης έτσι, ο πλανήτης αλλιώς, ο πλανήτης ξεπαγώνει, ο πλανήτης ξεπιάνεται.
Ναι.
Για πες.
Όχι. Κάνω πράγματα τα οποία μπορεί να είναι μηδαμινής σημασίας, αλλά προσπαθώ να κάνω κάποια πράγματα που να βοηθήσουν το περιβάλλον. Είτε αυτό έχει να κάνει με την ανακύκλωση, είτε αυτό έχει να κάνει με το ότι μπορεί να προσπαθήσω να πάρω λιγότερες φορές το αυτοκίνητο από ό,τι θα μπορούσα. Απλά μικρά πράγματα. Δεν θα το σώσουμε ένας-ένας τον πλανήτη, δεν θα τον σώσουμε ούτως ή άλλως, απλά τουλάχιστον να κάνουμε λίγο πιο βιώσιμη τη ζωή μας και τη ζωή των παιδιών.
Μην πετάτε το σκουπίδι έξω από το αυτοκίνητο.